Hi, everybody. Thank you for logging on for our first office hours. I'm Jenny. I think that I recognize most people's names that are popping up here. But I'm one of the CDBG project managers. And we have a new face on our team. Matthew is one of our interns that here at Commerce, and he's helping our team this summer. So you will see Matthew at some of our trainings and so forth throughout the year. And we'll talk a little bit more about what's going on. It's not really a third Thursday kind of day, but we have a couple little updates to give you guys. But do you guys want to introduce yourselves real quick?
I'm Jen. I've been here since January. I'm the operations and logistics coordinator.
And I'm Ann Zeitz, and I'm the assistant director.
Tim Parks, one of the other project managers, and Jason will be popping in here shortly also. He's on another call.
All right. So kind of the point of our office hours is if you guys have some program questions, application questions, things like that, you guys can ask us those. We can try to either answer them here or we will do some research if we don't know the answers. Just kind of like a learning session. But one of the things that we wanted to talk to you guys about today has to do with our spreadsheet that has our HUD census data on it. There are 3 communities on that spreadsheet that show up as exactly 51% low moderate income. And those 3 communities, they are technically just below 51%. The math plays out to be 50.98%. And HUD has rounded them up to 51%. So we've had inquiries for 2 of the 3 communities from that spreadsheet. There's Elkhart, which we haven't heard any inquiries for. And then Hill City, we have had a request for funding from them, like an inquiry, and then the city of Perry as well. So just to let everyone know, HUD is aware that there is a little bit of a rounding thing going on with their spreadsheet. They did that intentionally. They know that those ones are 51% because of rounding. They say, yes, they are 51%. That's what we're going with. Our guidance says 51% or higher can receive funding through census data, and those 3 cities in Kansas qualify for funding. So just to clarify, that's the situation. Now, when we are talking about surveys or anything like that, the guidance is still in no rounding. This is just what their guidance was for across the board for all states, what 51% point, what is it, 51.00% is. And you guys may have, I've had someone say before when they looked at the census data, it's all in ends and zeros. And we know that that really doesn't happen when you do the math. And so we had an inquiry for Hill City. We did a little math and we're like, wait a second, this is 50.98%, but the actual spreadsheet says 51%. So did some discussions with some people at the HUD Exchange and so forth. So that is that for those 3 communities. Was there something else we said we were going to talk about before we opened it up for people?
Let me look at the chat.
I was wanting to say, I thought we said there was
Year-end stuff, RPs.
And you're more than welcome to ask any questions of us.
Yeah. A lot of cool.
But if you're not asking a question at the moment, please mute your mics.
How's this gonna go?
Oh, Kylie wanted to know what the three communities were. They were Hill City, Elkhart, and Perry. Will you check the chat? What are the questions in there?
There's nothing.
Okay.
Just probably asking that about that.
Okay. How is everyone doing with their applications, their pre-apps, their regular applications? We have, I think it was a total of 17 pre-apps in maybe. But we haven't received that many actual applications. So does anybody want to give an update as to where they're at on their applications?
Can they mute themselves?
Yeah, they can unmute.
This is Crystal. I'll have one in before what is the deadline, the 15th, right? When you pull them down. I'll have one in before then, maybe two.
Okay, great.
Yay.
Hey Jenny, this is Carrie with the SEK RPC. Our office submitted one, it was either yesterday or this morning. But we weren't able to upload the attachments as one attachment, you know, all the additional documents that had to be done in several different attachments.
Yes, you have to do them each individually. That is a mechanism that they're putting in place across the board here at Commerce. To make sure that everyone knows all the required documents and descriptions of those documents. You'll see there's like a description under each box when you have to upload it. We asked for an option where we could upload all of them at once and we were told no. So you do have to upload each one individually. But that also makes it so that you know for sure that you're uploading everything that's required. You aren't accidentally missing something, hopefully. There's always a chance you could upload the wrong document, but there is a space for each one individually.
Okay, thank you.
You
And
might
Jenny, we
change
got a
your
question.
application page then, because the first page tells you have to upload all as one. And then when you click to the next page where the forms, then it tells you separate.
It doesn't make sense.
So we've had to do some backtracking after we've put them all in one.
Okay, sure. Yeah, we'll get that updated.
Riley had a question. If we submit a full application and are thresholded, can we resubmit the next month or is it one and done?
I think that probably depends on why your application was thresholded. But typically, yes, you should probably be able to resubmit it. I can't think of anything off the top of my head that would say, no, you can't, unless it's ineligible. Like if you send something in and we're like, no, you can't actually do that, then we'll let you know that you can't do that. But theoretically, you should be able to.
Rosemary, which pre-application are you waiting to hear back on?
Leon.
Said Leon?
That's what she said.
We'll look and see if we have that one done.
I was gonna say, I have confirmation that it was submitted on the 16th.
Okay, we'll look it up.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Basically, what we're doing right now is we're just waiting for the 15th is the final day this month, of course, to submit your applications for the June funding. And once we get those applications in, just so you guys kind of know what we do internally, the applications will come into the portal and we get an email to say that. And we will, I go through all the applications before they get distributed to raters. And I do the threshold process. So I look at all of your documentation. I make sure everything is clean, good to go. Sometimes I have Andrew or Tim or Jason look at a few things, especially the environmental review, determination level of review. Tim looks at that, the BABA worksheet, Jason looks at. And once we all agree that it's good to go, then I will assign it to raters. And then the raters will have from the 15th. We give them about a week and a half to rate the applications. And then once we have the ratings in, we will look at the scores, read through the comments and decide whether something is rating high enough that we feel that we can fund it. And then we will go through and make a recommendation to our leadership. And if they approve us to fund something, then we will go forward with getting a contract ready and an award letter and do all the things that we normally do with application awards, which is basically just sending that information to the awardee, letting them know that they are going to be getting funds. Let's see. Oh, Crystal, you can ask a question.
Sorry, I couldn't get off of mute. Okay, so I know setting up a city, we've changed a little bit about, I know we have to have the signature form still, but can you remind me, I don't have to send any of the other forms in, right? The signature form and then who the contact is so they could do the DocuSign? Is that it?
Do you mean like for
ACHs.
setting
like-
up the ACH?
Yeah, to set up an ACH before I turn in my first one. Is that the only paper you want me to send in plus the contact of, let's say, the city attorney or not city attorney, the city clerk or the city manager, or whoever is in charge of that?
Yeah, so basically what we do is once you send us your signature form and tell us that you're gonna be getting ready to do your first draw, we will check and see if we have any ACH information set up already for that community. And then at that point, if we don't, then we have a contact at fiscal that will actually send an email to the city clerk or whoever at the city to go through the process of setting up their account correctly.
Okay,
So
just the one sheet is all you need from me?
Yes.
And contact?
We need to know, correct me if I'm wrong, Ian, don't we need to know bank account information or last four at that time or no? To look it up?
Yes, we would need
Do
to
we-
know last four of the bank accounts so that we.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right. The last four of their bank accounts so that we can confirm whether that's the account we have on file.
Okay,
That's right.
I know you won't have an account for them because they haven't done a CDBG before. So, but I'll send that stuff in. Okay, I just wanted to make sure I didn't have to
Yeah.
do anything with those other two bank forms and stuff before I start sending stuff in.
Yes, yeah, communicate that information to your project manager and then they will connect you with our senior administrative assistant in our fiscal department so that they can help you get that set up.
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
Thanks, Crystal.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for doing this. Tim knows me. I've been to several of the trainings. I'm Donna Jackson. I'm from the small community of Burden, and we're a small community. We have many needs that you guys have resources to help us meet. But we don't have the knowledge, the background, the experience, the money, the resources. So I'm a willing volunteer in our community to learn. And we're pursuing now the CDBG Housing Rehab and Demolition Grant. I completed the hat for the community a little over a year ago, and Tim's well aware of that. We did our HIAC meeting in town, and I've attended the the other HIAC meeting you had last month in Great Bend. I have questions. I'm working on the application. I'm working on my target area now. I've read, there's a lot of information in the housing manual and the CDBG manual, so I need to get up to speed. I'm willing to do this on a volunteer basis just to learn so we can get started. We need that first win, and then we're going to go out and we're just going to keep replicating it and growing bigger. And I would like to help other small communities that just don't have the resource. In my first application, I'm wanting to know how many houses, what's the minimum that could be done so that I can use that minimum as a learning. I'm reading that you have to rehabilitate at least 3 houses and then you can demo 2 houses. Is that the minimum, or can you do fewer than that just to learn?
Oh, that's a good question, Donna. Never really had anybody look at it from that point of view, but that's not a bad way to look at it. Just kind of test the waters a little bit. Our moral of housing rehab is we want more rehabs than we do demos. So yes, I think your logic of 3 houses rehab, 2 houses demoed is probably a good one. I am unaware of any minimums. I don't even think we have a minimum grant amount, do we? So we would certainly entertain anything you guys wanted. I mean, there's an awful lot of overhead, if you will, or just general stuff you're going to have to do, whether you do 2 houses or 12 houses. So you want to consider that. But programmatically, if you just want to start out small, just do a handful of houses. I don't see a problem with that grant wise. It's just, again, there's a lot, the work you have to do as a city to do this program is going to be the same no matter what scale you do it at. So that would be my only caution to you, Donna.
I welcome that. We've got to learn with something. I figure the smaller the grant, the less exposure, the more likelihood. I don't mind doing all of it to learn, and then we'll come back bigger. I have learned that I don't want to do our entire city because, as I learned at your HIAC meeting last month, once you do your target area, you can't go back. So we will be doing a block or 2 that has a big need, where we will have limited clientele that are all LMI to, and then we'll talk to them and have pre-apps kind of, we'll have the agreement that, and we'll put that in the application that we have these secure, these people want to work and they qualify. We will be doing that.
The other thing I want to caution or suggest you look at, Donna, is, or let you know, is this program is one of the few programs that just requires an extraordinary amount of professional services besides our usual. So our usuals are wanting a grant administrator as a professional service, maybe an architect or engineer for building something. But for housing rehab, we want you to have it on staff, whether that's your staff or you hire out a professional service. You want to have a housing inspector. You want to have a lead-based paint risk assessor. And you're going to want to have a radon, an asbestos inspector. That doesn't have to be on staff. And radon's another one you need to test. But your housing inspector and your lead-based paint risk assessor are really key people that are part of the process that need to inform you as to how these rehabs will go, basically, not to get into the weeds of it all. But so whether that's you or whether that's a grant administrator like SCED or North Central that both have a full service of those folks on staff, or whether you just individually piece it together and hire professional services together and cobble it together yourself. But you do need to have those professional services with you for sure with housing. It's just not something I know you're dedicated, but it would definitely be something probably you would drown in that, I would have a feeling. So
that's not a problem, Tim. I do plan to use SCED as a default if we can.
Okay.
It's likely we'll use SCED originally and learn.
Okay.
And that'll tell us what we need to look for. SCED does a wonderful job. They are fully staffed to do all of this, and they have a great reputation. So we have no problem with that.
Good.
2 more questions that I have. The environmental that's required, that's the only piece that we have to contribute as our local match that I understand, regardless of the amount we ask for. Can that even be done as a volunteer, no cost to the city? So essentially the city has no cost in it, which is a great sales feature.
Very true. Yes, you are accurate on all of that.
Okay, that's a good answer. Next question. I also understand, and very logically so, before any CDBG rehab, housing rehab can happen, weatherization has to happen on that home. And that's great, and that minimizes that helps the homeowner, renter to get good services at no cost, and it reduces the rehab costs. However, I also know there's a 24-month time limit to do the grant work. And although our local service provider for weatherization is very good, recent experience last year that I had getting weatherization done was a 12 to 18-month period.
My understanding is they are behind. Yes, there's quite a list for the weatherization.
Does that have any implication if it's part of a rehab grant that can speed up the weatherization? Is there any preference?
I can't speak for the organization that operates the weatherization. So let me just preface it by saying that I would think that you having a CDBG funded rehab program would be a benefit to them. We do typically stack our housing rehab with our weatherization, but I wouldn't want to speak on behalf of SCED or North Central because they're the administrators for it. And I know there is a waiting list there. So I would encourage you to maybe speak offline with them directly about that.
I will, Tim. I just wanted to hear from you guys.
Yep.
I'll take that into my conversation with them.
Very good.
Okay. And maybe the quantity of work that we might give them, then they can do something that's more dedicated to our location to serve more people faster and more efficiently with our government funds. So we can hope for that.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So what's the status now of the allocation for CDBG housing and rehab? Do we still have 3 million? Has anything been committed yet or awarded?
We have, I believe we allocated 1 million. Correct me if I'm wrong,
Just
Ann.
1 million?
I think it was 1 million that we allocated this year, but I've not had any 25 applications, right? And I know there are some in the works, Donna, but I talked to a lot of people about a lot of applications and whether they actually turn into applications or not, I can't tell you. But I have spoken to some cities. I expect to see an application in 2025. I have none allocated currently. And I'm pretty sure it was a million. A million. Okay, we just double checked. It's 1 million allocated. So.
I thought I'd seen somewhere in some training that was like 3 million, but that's.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
300,000, but no, not 3 million.
Okay.
But yeah, so the full million is still available. That could fund what, 3 cities. If they did the full 300,000, that'd be 900,000. So not a lot of money there, but certainly available. And as you know, they have to get through that hat and that HIAC in order to apply. So that pool is even smaller of folks that are ready. So.
Sounds good. And I understand too that there are certain maximums or amounts, thresholds that kick in if you have like $250,000 that you're asking for, that requires additional work, or if you're over 100,000 in some category, that requires additional work. I just want to keep it within the ability to learn and to
keep it simple. Yeah.
Yeah.
And most of I'm not sure what you're speaking to, but a lot of the thresholds you're talking about, housing is one of those programs we get lucky. Because of the way we do things and the way we organize it by unit at 25,000, we get out of BABA, we get out of Section 3, some of those things that other programs have to deal with.
Yeah.
So housing is fortunate in that regard.
Okay. Well, my next question I'm not really ready to ask yet is about the environmental, that we would
Okay.
probably qualify as a CEST, but I haven't found within the manuals yet exactly what that form is that I can
Right.
start looking at.
Yeah, and we can talk about that, Donna. And that's not a big issue. And that's something that honestly SCED will take care of. If you end up working with them, they will handle that for you anyway. But yeah, it's usually a CEST review. And it's pretty straightforward. So it's not a bad, they're existing houses. So there's not a lot of environmental issues we have to look at. So.
Okay, I'm thinking about having an administrator line item in the budget that's allowed, but not using it unless I can't figure out how to do it. Just to use them as a backup, just to put the funds in place, but not use them if I don't have to.
Understood. All right.
Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Yes, well, I'm sure we'll talk again, Donna.
Yes, I'm sure we will, Tim. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Crystal, did you have a question?
No, I think you answered all mine.
Anybody else have any questions for us?
You're welcome to submit in the chat if that's more comfortable.
And Rosemary, going back to your Leon thing, I see it in there. I think it might just be an internal processing issue we have there. It's done. It's a okey dokey, go submit your lovely siren application. And it will go out once I'm out of this meeting. Apologies.
Yeah, he may have been on the road or something.
We like siren projects. We think we like siren projects, I should say. Make us love them, Rosemary. Make us love them.
Yeah, go for it, Crystal.
So the pre-applications, I got two very extremely different replies.
Sure.
One was more vague, one was, hey, go for it. Is there a way we could add like, I don't know, a box that says, yes, move forward or approved, and one that says, try again. Or something like that, or a standard sentence you could throw in there, because the big one, I was like, what, do I get to move forward? But there wasn't a no, try again, so just a thought. Not really a question.
Yeah, we can definitely put a sentence in there that says, yes, we recommend that you can move forward.
Okay.
Or you need to
Something.
answer some questions before or pick something or something like that.
Okay, perfect.
And thank you for the feedback.
Yeah, this is new to us, so we're learning as we're going.
Oh, and we do have a new one pager with all the pre-application questions. So it might help when you're planning or you're meeting with other people before you decide to actually fill it out. So it is available on our website under pre-application on all the programs that require that.
Well, if you guys don't have any more questions, we will let you get out of here early. But if you come up with something, just shoot us an email with those questions. We're going to try to do office hours again, I think in 2 weeks. As we're kind of learning more about the pre-application process and application process. If you guys have any more feedback, we would love that. Something else that you guys can do, since you aren't busy already, if you want to go through our grantee handbook and give us some feedback on some things that you might want clarified, things that you think don't really pertain to what we do anymore, anything like that, we would love feedback on that document. We're going to be working over the next few months at revamping some of our guidelines and grantee handbooks and so forth. So anything that you guys have to say, we appreciate that. So with that, I will let you guys go. And we really appreciate you guys hopping on here.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you. Bye.